Hello and welcome to the Telegraph Studio and Business Reporter's Cybercrime campaign, hosted by the Telegraph Online. I'm Alastair Greener. So, have you received a notification from LinkedIn, MySpace, Netflix or other Microsoft accounts about your password being stolen and their security being breached? Well, don't feel too special. You're just one of millions of people who have received such messages. This is such a massive story today that it even beat the Brexit headlines for a while. So what can we do about it? Well, that's what we're talking about today with Chris Payne from Infinigate UK and Ronny Golf from GFI Software. Good morning.
Morning.
Now, we know that cybersecurity is a massive problem, but you've done some research into this. So what are the biggest challenges that face business today when it comes to cybercrime?
First of all, I think we need to know that really the threat itself hasn't changed that much. So it's still the phishing, it's still the ransomware or the malware, Trojans like that. But nowadays we see that there's a real profession behind. You can go to something like Amazon, so on the dark web, to buy some exploit kits.
So these exploit kits, what, you just pay for them? Just how much money are we talking about?
It's something you can compare it with Amazon. You can shop through the card specific for your needs, and pay, for example, neutrino exploit kit for £1,000.
So for £1,000, I can effectively go into business,
Yes.
into cybercrime.
Yes.
Just to show you how brazen some of these cyber criminals are as well, I've actually done a presentation on this very subject. And some of these online stores where you can buy these exploit kits actually have reviews and ratings. So people are actually providing feedback to the cyber criminals about how good their software is, and that then encourages other people to purchase the same things. All of these types of exploits, they do change over time, they change based on the way we consume IT. But what doesn't change is the actual outcomes. So there's always three types of outcome. Sabotage is just taking you offline for a period of time. Just, I have some kind of gripe with something you've done or the way you've interacted with me and I want to take you offline. Also blackmail. I want some kind of financial gain from you. I'm going to take you offline for a period of time. Here's the ransom to keep you online. And then the final one, the one that grabs all the headlines, is of course data breaches and data theft. Now, we need to get really serious about the scale of this. It's huge. We ran a survey across 150 key IT security decision makers in the UK, and 85% of those told us that in the last 2 years, they'd suffered one or more types of attacks, and they've suffered those breaches as a result. If we extrapolate that out to the entire UK, there's about 5.6 million small and medium-sized businesses in the UK. That means only 700,000 of them, the minority, have actually managed to escape that. And that's only the ones that know they've been attacked.
So you're saying 5.6 million companies have been affected by that. Put that into some form of context. What kind of money are we talking about?
Well, it's always hard to quantify. We can't look at it just from a monetary perspective. Also, you have to look at reputational damage, the fact that a lot of your customers are not going to be working with you anymore. Some of your partner businesses may be shaky with working with you too. The UK government actually ran a survey in 2016, and they found that for larger organisations, a breach could run up to about £3.5 million.
Wow, so given the fact that this is a huge problem, given the fact that, as you were saying, the criminals have become more professional at what they're doing, it seems to me that, given the scale of what you're talking about, that we're not really very prepared to be able to deal with the threat.
No, we're woefully bad at preparation. We actually, again, ran a survey and a question against all of our respondents, particularly those 85 that had suffered these breaches, and asked them, well, why? What is the challenges that you're having? And they told us that it's primarily two things. One is budget. And we looked into this and we found that of an IT budget, less than 10% of that budget was being assigned to IT security. It's a tiny, tiny proportion when you think about it. But we also found that they were suffering from a lack of management buy-in. So the people at the top of the organisation, those key decision makers, are actually not helping the IT department to fix the issue. It's a bit of a head in the sand type situation that we see here. I, as a consultant, quite often come up against the attitude of, well, we haven't been attacked in the past. There's nothing to deal with. I may not be attacked in the future. That's not really an appropriate thing to say. We don't leave our houses in the morning, go to work, and leave our doors unlocked just because we haven't been burgled before.
I mean, you're painting a pretty grim picture for organisations that they're probably thinking to themselves, this is so huge. I mean, where do I even start to deal with security? I mean, what can I do?
The first thing is that they need to test their security procedures, their security solution. The main issue in many companies is they feel secure because they have bought something. they have bought some IT security solution, and then we are secure. But that's not the case. We need to review that. We need to test that first. The next one is that if we identify if we are not able to adjust with our existing one, we need to find another solution, or we need to find an additional solution on top of that. And that additional solution needs to make sure that we are not overload our IT departments, because at the end, if we have too much solution, too much information, we get lost focus. But the most important thing, I think, is that we need to make some awareness at our employees, because the best technical solution will not help if our end users click on the malicious attachment and get some infection.
There is also an unhealthy mindset, not just in our industry, but in businesses in general, whereby they're looking for a solution to a problem, and once it's in place, that's it, go away and let's look at the next problem. But IT security is an evolving challenge. It's a moving target. You can't just come up with a solution and then move on. It's an evolving practice. You need to continuously review your security procedures all the time.
One thing we know is that cybercrime isn't going to go away. It's going to be with us for a long time into the future. Chris Payne and Ronny Golf, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.